What is up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes delivering another MMA superstar. This time it's Curtis Millender, who is going to be in the main event next week. It's PFL 2021, Week 2. He'll be facing Rory MacDonald. What's up, Curtis? How are you?
Oh man, I'm great, guys. Good, living the dream still.
That's right. We heard the news a few weeks ago, 10 days ago, something like that. You are stepping in. You're facing Rory MacDonald. David Mashad is retired, it looks like. And so we wish him well. But Curtis, you weren't just laying on the couch. You weren't on a bar stool. You had, I guess, what's called, I don't know, is it a substitute's contract or were you on hold? What was your official role, and what would you tell the people that might be thinking that you're not going to have, full preparation or maybe not as full of preparation as you'd like?
I mean, the preparation I had enough time. I was an alternate, so I knew for about 2 weeks before I actually got the fight that I was going to be an alternate. So I got time to, at least start getting the weight down because I knew I definitely had to at least make 170. I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know I was going to be fighting, so I wasn't really able to prepare for any one specific. But I just have to work on myself and make sure I can do the things that I can do.
And can you update us? How is the weight cut? How will the weight cut go for you? Is it going to be any trouble at all?
Oh no, not at all. I guess that's the good thing about the being locked up in quarantine. I can't really sneak away and get cookies and candy like like I do sometimes. I mean, this is going to be the first time in over 2 years that I've been 170, but as of right now, it looks like everything's going to go good. Everything's going to go smooth. So I'm confident.
Now, you didn't know who you might be fighting, but then you and I spoke privately, and this is kind of a dream matchup for you, or at least somebody that you've wanted to face for a while. So does that mean that you've kind of mentally prepared for a few of these guys, when you were in the UFC, Bellator, PFL, just knowing who the top guys were and how you would, prepare for them and face off against them?
Definitely. Just being a nerd of the sport and watching all the fights all the time, I pretty much know, at least the basics about everybody in this season. Rory, though, has been a dream opponent for years, pretty much my whole career. I've always wanted to fight him. I've always wanted to see how I would do up against him. A friend of mine actually sent me a video from about 6 years ago that I did with Ellie Setback when he's asking me, like, who are, like, my dream opponents, dream fights. And it's Rory MacDonald has always been in that list.
What is it about him that you like in this matchup?
I don't know, man. I think just the style. Every time he fights, they're always praising his footwork. They're always praising his jab, and I feel like I have one of the most creative lead hands in this game. So I've always wanted to, let's see who can be the most dominant. I mean, he's definitely a different fighter now. We both are, but the confidence still hasn't changed. I still know I can beat him.
I'm glad you brought up the lead hand because that's something I want to talk about. In this fight, I believe there will be 2 oh shit moments for Rory MacDonald. One has to do with your lead hand, and it's got to be that jab. This is pretty much a target, right? Anybody that fights Rory MacDonald sees a gigantic target on that nose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's definitely the target for both the 1 and the 2. Every time I go for the face, that's what I'm going for. I want this to be as easy as possible, and whatever I have to do to make that easy, I'm gonna go for it.
Number 2 would have to be, he's gonna shoot on you eventually. When you stuff that takedown, what do you think is gonna go through his head? Because what that means is now he's got to go towards your strong suit, right? The stand up. Both of you guys there. I don't know if Rory's got a little bit more mileage on his body now. I don't know if that's the type of fight he's going to want.
I highly doubt that he was, but he's a very skilled, very talented guy. I know it's not going to be eventually; it's going to be immediately. He's going to shoot quick and early, and I'm ready for it. I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for his Imanari roll. I'm ready for everything. I have guys at the gym that do those kind of things a lot. I get to work with Jacob Rosales all the time, and he has a really, really fast Imanari roll, even though he's a smaller guy. Smaller than me, but he's so fast with it, and most days I can get away from him doing it. So if I can get away from him, I can get away from Rory.
His last fight was 2019 because he signed up with the PFL. PFL canceled the 2020 season. You fought twice in 2020. One was pre-pandemic, to be fair, in January when things hadn't really hit. But you did get one in August. How much do you think that's going to help you in terms of you just haven't had the layoff or just the same amount of rust, we'll say? I know that a lot of fighters say there's no ring rust. I still don't believe it. I still feel like there's something to be said for fighting twice a year at least.
I'm one of those guys that say I'm not a real big believer in ring rust. Then, I've never really taken more than 8 months off at a time. I guess we'll see. I'm coming out there, whether it's been 2 years or 2 months. I'm coming to finish this fight.
Yeah. Well, he's on 18 months and you're on about 8 months. So I'd still rather be in your position. And then let's go back to another thing. And I know you're going to think, man, this guy's a hater. But Curtis, we always talk about the wrestling. You grew up, you wrestled, but at times it's kind of been what's cost you fights. So you always tell us, hey, I just got to work on it. I got to work on it. How much have you worked on your wrestling in the last year or so since we last spoke?
I've actually got a lot of work in. I've been grinding and doing the things I have to do. I went out to Fight Ready for Eric Anders' fight camp for a few months. I got to work with some really solid guys there. Just having Eric, pressing me up against the cage and trying to take me down for 2 months was a big help. Having those conversations with Henry Cejudo and working with guys like Ray Waters and Ryder Newman, who's going to be on The Ultimate Fighter. Like it really helped. And then, of course, the work back home. So I'm doing the work, I'm doing the grind, and Eddie Chai helped me realize, like, yo, if it's just a switch that needs to be turned. I need to get up, and if these dudes aren't willing to stand in front of me, it's more of a fear for them, because if they don't take me down, I'm the best in the world. But I have to have that mentality of whether I get taken down or not, I can get back up and still be the best in the world.
School me on something as well, if you don't mind. A lot of times, is it just you're in a flow? What is it? I watch tons of fights every week, and we have probably 80% of them are striker versus grappler, right? Or at least a guy who would prefer to stand versus a guy that would prefer to be on the ground, because you're all pretty well-rounded. But there always comes a time, probably twice or 3 times a night, over 8 fights, 10 fights, whatever card I'm watching, where the guy that would prefer to be standing throws a kick, a lazy kick, and the guy catches it and they go to the ground, and I'm like, and I'll even hear the corner say, no kicks, Is it just because it's this flow, it's muscle memory, or it's a defense mechanism? Why do you think a lot of fighters do that and almost give away these easy takedowns, whereas the rest of the time they've been through on underhooks, wrist control, over-unders, sprawls? They do beautiful jobs to keep it on the feet, and then there comes that one lazy kick, someone grabs it, they might just even fall off balance. Well, maybe you can defend fighters in that regard, and I'm just the hater fan that's going, what are you guys thinking?
Nah, sometimes it's just, like you said, like a lazy kick. Yeah, that's why you can't be lazy. When you're in there in a fist fight and there's thousands of dollars on the line, your life is on the line. You got to do things right, and you can't be lazy. You can't throw a lazy kick. You got to keep your feet moving. If that's the game plan, keep your feet moving. If you know this dude is going to shoot, you need to be prepared for it. And I mean, it doesn't make it any better when these guys just take you down and hold you down because of the fear of you getting back up, and they just let you. It's one of those things. If we want to keep the fight standing, we have to keep the fight standing. It's still up to us.
Yeah, sometimes a round is gifted. One of the 3 rounds is gifted because of that, because it's pretty even, or maybe you did have a slight advantage, but that guy or that gal managed to, I won't just say lay on top. That sounds disrespectful. They grabbed a foot or an ankle, got on top, maybe improved position, but didn't do anything to like improve or end. They coasted, which in a way, I feel like it's underrated as a strategy, Curtis, and I'll tell you why. Because think about an NFL football game, right? Like, that's high-level sports, the NFL. And yet there's times where the offense just runs it. Why? Because the enemy's the clock. You already got the lead. You just need to get the hell out of Dodge, right, and win the game. And so your playbook changes. Or in basketball, there's a team that likes to run and gun, but in the fourth quarter, when you're up 10 and there's only 4 minutes left, you're using that 24-second clock. You're passing it. You're making sure that they have less opportunities. So that's why I ask. And I can't lie. I bet on a lot of strikers sometimes, and I feel like sometimes that's just kind of what's happened. Along the way is just that simple lazy kick or something like that.
That's definitely a big deal. I got a lot of heat from the last fight with Sabah. Him being supposed to be a world class kickboxer, and he just took me down. And it was just like all the people that bet on me to beat him. So I get it. I definitely get it.
Curtis, I know you have Rory MacDonald ahead of you, but being in this situation, being in the bubble, seeing all these guys, you got to face a lot of them coming up. Is it difficult not to look to the future? I don't want to say past Rory MacDonald, but you're going to have more than one fight here.
Yeah, I even in a situation, if your goal is to be the best in the world, you're looking past everybody anyway. I've seen most of the guys in this season, and I've definitely sized them all up. I've definitely told myself, oh yeah, I can beat that dude. Oh, that dude's small, I can beat that dude. Oh, look at that dude's legs. His legs are skinny. I can tear those legs apart. So I've definitely sized everybody up, and the goal is to get that $1 million. So I'm definitely being prepared and preparing myself for that $1 million.
Your road here is, if you go through all the guys that you fought some pretty tough competition, and you've done it in different organizations under different circumstances. And some of the guys that you've beaten have actually gotten even better along the way, kind of proving just how tough you are. Can you point to any particular moment in your career where you could say that was the gut check moment from you?
I kind of hate to say this, but when I fought Kevin Holland, that was still, to this day, I feel like the hardest fight I've had, and the best guy I've ever fought. And and you see what he's doing. Like, the last 2 fights probably didn't go his way, but he's been doing really great things. And but I would say right then, and I knew, I was like, yo, he was younger too. I was like, yo, this kid's gonna make it to the UFC. He's gonna do big things. I knew that. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones, is the Kevin Holland fight, and that was pre-UFC. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Goes asked you about the matchups in Bellator, UFC, and now soon to be PFL, but you referenced an LFA fight, so shout out to LFA, and very cool of you to give a fellow fighter props like that. You know what I mean? I remember that fight at LFA in California. In fact, looking back, if I'm not mistaken, he's from the Riverside area. I'm not sure when he moved to Texas, but did you guys either cross paths, know each other, or know of each other growing up?
No, it was no, we didn't, but it was crazy. One day, my parents told me that they were going to fights, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not fighting. Why are you guys going to fights?" And it was his fight that they were going to, because I believe his grandfather is the drummer at the same church, so they were going to support that fight. And that was before me and him had fought. So that's the only time we have come across.
Wow, small world. But that's pretty cool. All right. Also, just wanted to tell you, that's great that you shared that story about going to another gym and kind of getting out of your comfort zone and getting some good looks. You named off 2 skilled fighters there with Henry Cejudo and Eric Anders alone, in addition to, I'm sure, their coaches. So that was great. But you're still at CSW?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. And what about the matchmaking? And I know you were doing some of that in California. It got shut down. Has it been brought back, or what's going on there?
Not yet. Not yet. We're still waiting to see when we're going to be able to get started. Hopefully August. Definitely by the end of the year. Hopefully with my co-OC. We just Southern California is such a hotbed, and right now we're sending the guys that are, even the amateurs out of state, out of the country. We have a guy fighting next week in Mexico. So we just need to get everything rolling so these guys can fight at home. Because I'm sure if we have a lot of guys at my gym, there's guys everywhere.
Do you ever watch a fight as a matchmaker, as an executive or whatever? 2-0 versus 3-1, we'll say. But have you ever watched a fight and actually learned something from some of these younger guys? Just something you picked up. You were like, wait a minute, because they say you can never stop learning. But I've wondered, not as a coach, not as a cornerman, just you wearing a tie or your nice clothes, like again in this role that you have you ever just learned something, maybe even not during the fight, but from the weigh-ins that you've been able to just kind of put in your pocket, and as a tip for yourself?
Especially with this fight game, I'm always open to learn. I've been in it for a while now, so I'm sure there's things I forget. So when I see the younger guys do it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like a rehash. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Let me review that and get back to it. Every now and then you'll see something new, but my eyes are always open. I'm always watching everything.
Yeah. Pretty cool to see them hungry like you once were, just trying to do their thing. I always tell everybody, every fighter's next fight is really their Super Bowl. You know what I mean? If you're working off a win, where you're trying to improve the streak, if you've got a streak going, you might be ready for the next step. If you've taken an L, you don't want 2 in a row, people will start to cast doubt on you. You know what I mean? So it seems like every fight has certain types of pressures and excitement that come with it. That's very cool that you still kind of, I don't know if it grounds you or just reminds you of what the struggle was like, and it makes you appreciate what, where you're at right now.
It definitely does. And our reality, the struggle is still here. I'm not a millionaire. I haven't been able to retire and take care of the family without fighting. So the grind is still going. The hunger is still there, and I got to make the most of it.
What you could be, look, I'm looking at the corner of my laptop. It says April 21. December 31 is what, like 6-7 months away. You could be a millionaire then, man.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, we're happy to see you with the PFL, man. Can't wait to see you headline on ESPN2, April 29th versus Rory MacDonald. Thank you as always for the time, and thanks for letting us pick your brain about these other topics, that had nothing to do with the fight. But you're always very open with us, and you're thick-skinned, and so we appreciate it.
Awesome, no problem, man. I love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Love you too, buddy. All right, take care.